Hello everyone and welcome to this interesting episode of Ignition Time. I'm going to cover some rather interesting comments from the President of the United States where he talks about an Amtrak conductor coming up to him, grabbing his cheek and saying, "Joey baby!" And if you thought that was interesting, the Republican senator from Texas, Ted Cruz, the one and only Ted Cruz, responds to video of him dozing off. Yes, I said dozing off during President Biden's joint session address in front of Congress. Let's get into this rather interesting episode of Ignition Time. Here's a segment with the President of the United States who was on an Amtrak train just in the past 24 hours. And the President is talking about an Amtrak conductor named Angelo who goes up to the President of the United States, grabs his cheek and says, "Joey baby," and I'm going to quote, "You know how many miles you've traveled on Amtrak?" Yes, folks, this is a rather interesting story. And the President actually says, "I actually thought that Angelo was about to get shot." Yep, you heard that right. Let's roll the tape and check out this rather interesting anecdote from President Biden, and then we'll get into the one and only Ted Cruz, who thinks President Biden is boring. Yes, let me know if you think this episode is boring. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden.
And I was getting on the train, and Angelo Negri came up to me and goes, "Joey baby," and he grabbed my cheek, started to squeeze it like he always did, and I thought he was going to get shot. I'm serious. And I said, "No, he's a friend." He said, "Joey, what's the big deal? 1,200,000, 300,000 miles on Air Force Two. You know how many miles you travel on Amtrak?" I said, "No, Ange, I don't know." And he gave me the calculation. And he said, "You travel 1,515,000 miles on Amtrak."
Yeah, and if you thought that was entertaining, wait till you check this out. Here's an interesting headline from an article on The Hill on your screen. Cruz responds to footage of him dozing off during the Biden speech. It looks like Ted Cruz was not being entertained during President Biden's address in front of a joint session of Congress. Let's take a look at this segment with the one and only Ted Cruz dozing off as President Biden is speaking. Let's watch.
We can actually, if you actually want to solve a problem, I've sent a bill to take a close look at it. We also have to get at the root problem of why people are fleeing, particularly to our southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
And so how does a Republican senator from the state of Texas who's dozing off during the president's address in front of a joint session of Congress react? Well, apparently he wants us to know that Vice President Kamala Harris and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi were bored as well. Here's a screenshot of an image that was posted by Ted Cruz on his timeline where he's saying that the Vice President and House Speaker agree with him, and he disrespectfully refers to them as Kamala and Nancy. Let's take a look at this screenshot on your screen where he addresses the Biden speech as boring but radical. Yep, that's Senator Ted Cruz. I think he's a moron. There you go. I said it. I think he's a moron. And he said that this was a frightening speech that was boring yet radical. In fact, he said this is a frightening speech that is masquerading as something that is boring yet radical. I want our viewers and subscribers to know that I think that Senator Ted Cruz, a Republican from Texas, is... In fact, sometimes I ask myself, "Hey Ted, what is wrong with you? Are you nuts?" Oh, there he is. He's there again. "Ted, what's wrong with you? Why are you such an agitator?" Well, I guess that's good for business as far as Ted Cruz is concerned. He is. Anyway, let's take a look at this segment with Senator Ted Cruz where he dismisses the Biden speech again as something that's frightening and as something that's boring yet radical. Let's roll the tape and hear what Ted Cruz had to say.
Well, look, I think the speech tonight, you could sum up in 3 words: boring but radical. The speech by design was calm and dulcet tones. I challenge you to remember a single line from the speech. I mean, it was monotone. The chamber was nearly empty, and that really has characterized the first 100 days of Joe Biden. That he's tried to say nothing notable, he's tried to tweet nothing notable. I think they've made the political decision that many people were tired of the drama of the previous 4 years, and they wanted something calm. And so, but Joe is deliberately being boring, but the substance of what he's saying is radical. This is the most radical first 100 days of any president in the history of this country. This makes Barack Obama look mild and moderate. You look at what Joe Biden stood up there tonight and said. He said, number one, we're raising taxes. We're raising every tax. If you pay taxes in America, your taxes are going up. He said that they're going to raise individual income taxes, they're going to raise corporate income taxes, they're going to raise taxes on small businesses, they're going to raise capital gains taxes, they're going to raise the death tax. Every tax is going up, and it's to the tune of trillions of dollars. Look at what Joe Biden didn't say tonight. He didn't say we're opening up small businesses. He didn't say we're getting people back to work. He didn't say we're getting kids back in school. Completely missing from his remarks tonight what was the outrage that more than half of the kids in America are not in person in school 5 days a week. And he provided zero solution to the crisis at the border that he caused. He pretended it didn't exist. This was all about trillions of dollars in spending, massive job-killing regulations, trillions of dollars in taxes, and it was an unapologetic partisan speech. There wasn't even the tiniest fig leaf of an outreach to the other side. You know, it was 100 days ago he gave his inauguration where he talked about unity, he talked about common ground. All of that was gone tonight. Tonight, this was an agenda that was set by Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and AOC. It's the radicals and socialists. And what did he talk about also? The Corrupt Politicians Act, H.R. 1, a federal takeover of elections to keep Democrats in power forever. And he didn't once reject the radical Democratic plan we saw introduced this last week to pack the U.S. Supreme Court with 4 new liberals. This was a frightening speech, and it was a frightening speech masquerading in really boring tones.
So I have a question for you. Who do you think is to blame here? Is it the President of the United States conducting a boring yet important speech in front of a joint session of Congress, or is it a senator who decides to escape to Cancun, decides to escape to Mexico while millions of residents in his home state of Texas were without heat, without power? Should you be blaming Cancun Cruz, or is Cancun Cruz correct in his assertion that President Biden's speech was boring yet radical? In yet another example of how this absolutely bananas. Yes, this is another example of how absolutely bananas I think Ted Cruz is. Let's take a look again at a United States senator dozing off during what should be him paying some respect while he's sitting in the halls of Congress listening to the President of the United States. Let's take another look at Cancun Cruz as he was dozing off listening to the President. I think Cruz was much more entertained heading off to Cancun, abandoning residents in his home state of Texas instead of listening to the President and doing his job. I think what Cruz enjoys is just fear-mongering, is agitating, because folks, politics is about timing, it's about opportunity, it's about tribalism and perception. People like Ted Cruz are phenomenal at tribalism, trying to agitate people and manufacture problems and engineer problems, when in reality they should be focusing on substance and policy. Let's take another look at Ted Cruz dozing off during President Biden's address in front of a joint session of Congress. Let's watch again.
We can actually, if you actually want to solve a problem, I've sent a bill to take a close look at it. We also have to get at the root problem of why people are fleeing, particularly to our southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
So there you have it, everyone. Let me know what you thought of Ted Cruz's comments on Fox, as well as him dozing off on live television and then retweeting the Vice President of the United States and House Speaker, calling them by their first name and saying, hey, they were falling asleep too. Is this what we should expect from a United States Senator, this juvenile, immature behavior? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. A lot of effort goes into the creation of these videos. I'm working hard for you as Ted Cruz right there is dozing off. I can assure you that I work hard for you, and all I ask of you is please support the channel by clicking like, clicking subscribe, and enabling notifications. Ted Cruz enjoys taking a nap, enjoys vacationing, enjoys going to Cancun and abandoning his people. Ted Cruz enjoys agitating people and creating division and creating tribalism, because that is what politicians like Ted Cruz do. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye. Oh, by the way, let me know what you thought of President Biden's Joey baby story featuring the Amtrak conditioner. So while Cruz was dozing off and essentially fear-mongering, talking about President Biden. The president was cracking jokes as he was traveling through Amtrak. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.